Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Empowering Voices. Today, we have a special guest. We are very honored to have Leslie with us. Hello, Leslie. Thanks a lot for being with us. We are connecting with Leslie on the other side of the ocean.
The other side of the pond.
Yeah, exactly. We are very happy to start the conversation with you. I'm very excited because I've been through a bit your website and all the things, amazing things that you have accomplished, but we want to learn from you. As you know, we start the conversation with one of the words that I have embroidered on the t-shirts. I have the t-shirt here for those of you who are watching as well. And the word for today is resilience. So, Leslie, welcome. Thank you for being with us. And please tell us why resilience resonates with you and what you do, and who you are.
Okay, so I always start my story by throwing it all the way back to 2002. So I am old. I always say I'm old. So I call 2002 my terrible twos. So if you have a child at home, you kind of know
we understand
terrible twos. So in one year, and I say my beloved father because my mom died when I was 15. So my father and I were very close. So he passed on in 2002. My husband lost his job in 2002. I had a double mastectomy and multiple surgeries after that in 2002. And my son was diagnosed with ADHD, executive dysfunction, and other learning disabilities. So
all in 1 year.
1 year.
Oh, that
could have those things.
Yeah, break everyone. Yeah.
Right. Any one of those things will put someone in the fetal position. But I had all of that in 1 year. So the crazier story too is then within 6 months, I was working for a not-for-profit and they folded. So, but as you know, as a parent, you don't get to be in the fetal position, right? You got to get up to make a lunch, make a breakfast, drive.
Of course, so you never stop.
You never stop.
You can't actually.
But it's very difficult too. So when my son was diagnosed, this is kind of my story. When my son was diagnosed, I needed to find ways to untangle his world, both at home and at school. And everyone has to remember back then, there weren't podcasts and websites.
Yeah.
There was nothing. The internet.
Yeah, it was just the beginning of all these. Yeah.
The internet wasn't very robust. So I did a lot of things in my own home to untangle his world so that he could be productive and calm. And true story, friends saw it, friends of friends, and they said, and I did things back then that would have been considered revolutionary, maybe not now so much, but back then people weren't taking closet doors off so that a child could see what didn't exist, or taking dressers out of the room and lining things with clear bins so that it was more visual and easier to process. So true story, I had a friend who said, you have to do this for a friend of mine. And I went to that friend's house and I put systems and structures in the home to benefit their ADHD child. Within 2 weeks, I got 4 phone calls. Can you come and do that at my house?
Wow.
True story. I turned to my husband, who happens to have ADHD also, and I'm allowed to say that. And I said, I don't do this for a living. At that time, I was working. 4 days a week. And he looked at me with the straightest face and went, well, you do now.
Yeah, exactly. Destiny decided for you.
That's it. And I went, what? But I don't have a name. I don't have a business card. I'm such a linear thinker. I'm such that like in the weeds. And he goes, call yourself order out of chaos. I kid you not. And
oh, come on.
And within a month, I didn't have to work my other job. And within 6 months, I had a team. And within 2 years, I went virtual.
Wow. This is wow, really. It was destiny, but if you think, I mean, your instinct to do the right thing for your child benefited other people.
That's what I mean by that resilience factor. So what I tell people all the time is I did not start out going, I want to be an entrepreneur, and here's my business plan, and here's the roadmap I'm going to follow. I was as fearful as, maybe fear should have been my word, but I think resilience is a really good one, because to come from all of that, to have all of that on your shoulders, and to say, I didn't have a choice. I needed to figure out a way to help support my family. My husband was at that point consulting, and then ultimately but I had to figure out how to support my son. I had another child, but I had to help my son there was so many things swirling. That the resiliency to say, you know what, I'm so afraid, but fear can either push you in two different directions. It could either paralyze you, or it could propel you forward. And that resiliency, I always say, like, thank God I started from a place of so much stuff, because I don't think I would have I don't think I'd be here today. I don't think I would have done what I had done if I had had a chance to think.
Exactly, because I think you would have started feeling the fear, because in the meantime, you had worries much bigger in that moment. So to start a business probably was a distraction, although it was also a bit your mission, because of course you wanted to make other families happy. But
I didn't know what I was doing.
Exactly.
Right. I didn't know what I was doing. And I think what I started to say to myself, because fear and is I could pick fear, I could pick resiliency. And I think what I did is I believe this to be true. And a lot of times I get asked to talk a lot about this. And I say, when you are fearful of something, it's the thing you should be doing the most.
Yeah. But there's no growth unless we have fear, and we then take the lead, and we find ourselves on the other side, of course.
Right. And so it made me bold. Like it's not in my nature to tell everybody what I was doing. It wasn't in my nature to pick up a magazine, like pick up a phone and call a magazine and say, hey, I have a great story to tell you.
To push yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. But I felt at that time, like I had to make this work. There was no other option for me, right? I needed something that would give me a little flexibility so I could take care of my own health. I could take care of my son. My husband was building a business himself. So I just put my head down and like barreled through with nothing. Like I didn't have, like, I wasn't, I was an ADHD, I understood ADHD and executive functioning and parenting, but not how to run a business. That's of
course, a completely different thing. But it happened at the right moment, exactly, because you had so many things on your plate.
Yes.
To add another one wasn't scary. At the beginning, it wasn't scary, but at the beginning, because I suppose with time, you started realizing what you started.
What was really interesting, if I look back, and I have looked back a lot because I get asked to talk about it, is like things that I did that I didn't even like now you would be saying, of course, that's what you would do. So like even making the business virtual back then nobody had a virtual business back then. And people saying like I would be writing stories and like sharing things about, like, never exploiting, but usually sharing something that I learned about my son in a vignette or in a moment, and someone saying, you need to share that with everyone. So I started like putting it out on Facebook and saying like, I want to share, something that's going on, or a tip for parents, and people like, you need to put that in a newsletter. I'm like, a newsletter? What's a newsletter?
Yeah.
Right. And then I read about doing a webinar. I'm like, all right, let's try that. And 3 people showed up, and one of them was my sister. But like, it was all of these things. But what really, I think, because I get asked this all the time, drove the business was that I think because I put on my professional hat. I am an academic life coach for teens and college students with ADHD and LD, as well as a parenting coach. But I put on my professional hat, my personal hat, and my parenting hat. Yeah. And there wasn't anybody else really doing that. You were either hearing from doctors, who had this 36,000 level view, or you also were hearing from people that did not have a child at home experiencing what they were. So being able to connect on that human level and bring that perspective as well. What I used to hear all the time is, do you live in my house? Like, wait, are you here? Because you know
yes,
exactly.
of course. But none could understand better than you. I mean, you lived the situation on your shoulders. I mean, you found the solution guided by your instinct, and eventually they revealed themselves to be amazing techniques used today. I mean, right. All these little pieces of the puzzle created, of course, what you have today. Because let's not forget that it's been a long time anyway. Yes. You had time to grow, but what you have done, I mean, reading really what you do today, it's amazing. And the quantity of people that you helped and help, I mean, it's stunning, and it's and it's amazing, and it's that little bridge that you said, I mean, to create between the medical profession and the real people, because then you need someone, because after you have a diagnosis, then the practical stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do you do? I mean, there is medication, okay, but then there's the practical stuff that only if you are an insider, you can understand.
What we get all the time is we understand the why. Mm-hmm. Can you help us with the how? Yeah. And that's what we bring to the table. We are, I mean, I should say this, we are a virtual, we are still 100% virtual. You do not need to live where I live. We are global. I mean, that's what's so lovely is we are a global community. We have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of members, and it's free to be a member, to come to us for products, for programs, for workshops, for webinars, and for coaching. So what we love is that we're really able to touch people like where they live. And that was really important for me as a business when I created that part of the business is, if you really need us to be coaching you, we can provide that for you, but maybe you just want to show up and be part of our webinar program, or maybe you just want to come to our site and digest all of the, the information that's there. It doesn't matter. But as parents, believe it or not, and I know this to be really true. If you are a parent of a child who is neurodiverse, you are confused, you are lonely, you are anxious, you are everything, you're frustrated, and sometimes you don't want to go to something where you live because, and no parent should feel shame, but I remember never wanting to go
but you feel uncomfortable, you can feel uncomfortable.
Feel very uncomfortable. Sure. So there's a little bit of an anonymity thing when you come to us, because you can be part of everything. Yes. Or you can kind of stand back and take in whatever it is we're offering. And so I think that is it too. That there's, and I know this is so not professional, but there's a yumminess to how we run the business. And we say that we are very yummy because we are, the biggest thing that I feel has kept us on a trajectory and set us apart is we are very much about our community. We do not do anything. We don't create a program. We don't put out a webinar topic. We don't make changes in our academic planners. We also have products we sell all over the world under the Order Out of Chaos brand without asking our community what they want. Never. To the point is we do twice a year, we will pick up a phone. We take a smattering of names and pick up the phone and call people in the community just to say, what is it you like? What is it you don't? Not everybody's home, but people fall off their chairs.
Of course. It's such a personal service that you offer in this way. I mean, we tend to do it with the normal products. No, I mean, I have clothes and I do it with the clothes, but doing it for something so delicate, so intimate, like what you solve, it's even much more. I mean, people will feel pampered and understood.
Well, I feel, and that's it. We take them on the journey. I always say, like, we have members who've grown up with us, but I think what allows that, why we do that, is exactly because of who we serve. I give you credit. I don't know if I would do that if I was a jewelry designer, but because of who we serve, we want to make sure that everything we're putting out there is serving who we're serving. And I'm going to say it too, it helps us mitigate risk. I don't want to create a program if no one's going to show up. Right?
That's for sure. And this is the business side that everyone has to look at. But from your inside, I mean, your mission is also that you really want to support the people who put their trust in you and your business. Because to trust, especially as a parent, I mean, our most precious thing in life are our children. So if I trust you and I follow what you tell me, I need to be 100% sure that you are doing what I need and not what your business needs.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
You're right. You are 100% right. And so we try to do that. Like we try to funnel everything back into the business. So we try to do as much, we are a business, obviously, but we try to, what can we do for free, balance it. This year, we're actually launching a scholarship program, which we've never done before, but it is really something I've always wanted to do so that people can come to us and apply for scholarships for coaching and boot camps. We're doing because it's our 10th year anniversary for our academic planners. Mm-hmm. So we're celebrating what we're calling a plannerversary, and we're going to be, schools can apply to get actually not only a donation of product, but also of money, a grant, where they, because for us, well, you know what? We want to give back to the community. Like we were spending our time as a team going, well, is there an organization or a charity that we want to support? And one of the members of my team goes, why are we not giving it back to the people that are in our community? And I'm like, okay, well, that's freaking brilliant, right?
Yes.
So
actually, it's always difficult to decide, which is the direction when you want to give back. But of course, it makes sense. Your community is the one that trusted you from the beginning and brought you where you are. So it's give and take all the time.
Right. It's give and take.
And schools are, of course, always in need of some valuable,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, I think it's interesting, look, as you said beforehand, and I am so appreciative of yes, it has been an incredible trajectory. And, I write books and I speak all over and I've done all these great things. But when it comes down to it, I'm still, if a parent really wants to talk to me, even if I'm not the one doing the day-to-day work, because there's just so much I can do at this point.
Of course.
I've never lost that because I just never have. That's just not something that I was willing to remove myself from. And I think that actually is what has sustained it. And I think the other thing that allows you to do as a business owner is it allows you to make mistakes and it allows people to be forgiving of those. Yeah. So we have made mistakes. Trust me, we've made a ton of them. And yet our community either laughs along with us or says, oh my God, don't worry about it. Really? And we're to give you an example is, we make academic planners every year and we proof them. Everyone on our team proofs them. And for some reason, one year we decided we celebrated Halloween and not Halloween.
Okay.
We celebrated Halloween.
Yeah. Okay.
And we were devastated. And we're like, should we tell everyone? Should we make a big deal? Should we forget about it? Hope no one notices. And I'm like, nope, we are going to make a big deal out of it. And on Halloween, we, blasted it out and we gave everybody I think a discount to something. And people they thought it was you know what I mean? Instead of leaning out, we showed our human side of the business.
Exactly.
We effed up. We effed up. We made a mistake. I hope it's cool. And everyone's like, are you kidding? It's so good. And so I think you have to feel that as business owners too.
And it's amazing that you still feel it because, I think the reason is exactly because the business chose you and not the other way around, because it was your need probably to give to others this knowledge that you built on the field, basically, with your own experience.
Which is why I picked the word. I didn't pick the word resilience just because of me. Because if I look really at everything, I look at, yes, the resiliency to be able to come back from that horrible year and build this, amazing business still.
Yeah.
But I look at the resilience of my son and where he is. I look at the resiliency of the members of our community who are, struggling and striving to be better, to be better parents or to be more informed parents. I hate to say better, but more informed parents, and even my students who are, again, that resilience of being hurt, hearing all day long, you're not good enough, or you're making mistakes, or you're lazy, or you're, so to me, that word resilience really, it feeds and bleeds into everything we do, not just me. It's not just what I've done, but it's what everyone who we touch has done to, to get where they are.
A great work over the years. But do you explain a bit how it works? Do you work with the parents mainly, or also with the children?
Okay, so I'll give you the readers. So we, like I said, we are a global virtual company, and people come to us for all different things. So we have coaching programs that are both for students as well as parents. So you can, as a parent, you can come to us to get one-on-one coaching to help you if your child's been newly diagnosed or just behavioral, whatever it is. We also coach students, middle school. I know I'm giving you, but it's like middle school through college. We have coaching programs as well. We also do monthly webinars for our community. It's free to be a member. We never charge you for membership, but we do charge for the webinar so that you can choose what it is. Those are geared to parents. They are not geared to students because students don't show up. We tried that and they just don't come. And then we have workshops and stuff like that. And then we also have a products division that both are geared to students as well as parents. So there's some hard products like planners and things like that, as well as educational videos and stuff for parents. And then there's the Leslie Josel business. So I write a weekly, as you know, I write books, I write a weekly column, I do a million other consulting and things like that. So the base of our business is we speak to parents, but we do a lot of student coaching, a ton of it.
Yeah. And how many people are on your team now?
10.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are busy. Because there are some people that just take care of the products division.
Sure.
Right. There's people that take care of the Leslie Josel business. There's people that take care of, the order out of chaos and all that. We have coaches. It's a busy business, but it's great. And we're all virtual, which is really great.
Yeah, of course. And we did, in these last 2 years, we understood much better how important it is, the flexibility of the virtual world for a business. And fortunately that you can do it online. I mean, you can reach many more people and help many more people. Yeah.
And we were always virtual. I remember, I'm usually based in New York, and I remember it was March 16th, Monday morning, the world fell apart on March 12th on that Thursday. And then we had our team meeting and everyone on my team was like, are we going to be okay? Are we going to be okay? And I'm like, we are virtual and we work with parents of neurodiverse children who are now coming home to learn. I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And what we did as a team is, we couldn't give away our hard products because obviously they cost money, but we had 2 webinars lined up. One was for the next week and then one a month later. We refunded everybody and we said, we're going to do it for free. We wanted to bring in give as much as we could because it was just, devastating what was going on.
Of course.
And parents needed help and support. So for the first few months, we just said all of our webinars, all of our stuff that way. And we were doing parenting during the pandemic, virtual learning, study skills at home, anything we could to support parents. And as much as I have to say this, as some businesses we know really struggled, it was out of control what happened with our business. And that wasn't always a good thing. You have to remember too, and I want to bring that in, everything hasn't always been perfect. I am so not a perfect business owner. And sometimes I really don't see the forest from the trees, but we were so busy outward. What can we do for the community? What was going on? I also had a brand new book coming out. I had a collection coming out with a company. I had designed products, and we were so focused on outward that the foundation of our business really was not supporting all of this, like new, like we grew so, I mean,
so much and so quickly. Yeah.
As big as we were, it like no one could have seen this coming. No one. And there was fractures, and we were putting Band-Aids and glue and rubber bands on anything we could and so one of the things that came out of that, and I think that's a good point, to show that, you know, not everything does go well. No one could see it from the outside, but trust me, on the inside, it was not pretty. It was not pretty.
It's nice that you are so honest, because sometimes we only see, you know, the facade and what everything, the glitter and the glamour. But then there's always, I mean, growth will always bring some kind of struggle. So it's important to recognize that.
Right. And stop it. And that's what we did. We stopped, believe it or not, we said, okay, we're going to shut down for 3 days in November. This was, and we're going to literally tell everyone, like, sorry, we are closed for business. And we literally ripped apart the company from bottom to top to bottom. Like, what do we need to shore up? What systems are missing? Do we need to hire? Do we need to fire? Do we need to restructure? Do we need to move people around? Like, do we need to get rid of things that aren't working and support new things and it was eye-opening for me as a business owner to go, because, you know, you tend to do what you like and you tend to not do what you don't. And that's not my, you know, I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like,
procrastination.
And everyone in my company's like, Leslie, like, we need, like, my vice president's like, she's slapping me on the wrist going, like, put on your big girl panties, like, get in that chair and be the owner of the company. I'm like, okay, you know, but we did it. And so, like, it's not always perfect. And I think that was a really big lesson for us, that sometimes what we need to do is stop.
Yeah.
And now we have more consistency of when we stop and what we bring to our meetings, and are we being able to support before we just say, hey, that's a great program. Do we have the infrastructure to support it?
To support it, yeah. Of course, every experience is useful for something, right? Even the, let's say, negative one. In fact, I don't like to talk about failure, or it's always a learning in some way.
You have to fail. I mean, I have failed. I mean, and I think the biggest thing that I have failed is when I don't listen to me. You know, you will appreciate this, and I hope people like to tell me what to do. People like to tell me that I leave money on the table. And I do. I know I do. I don't charge them. This is me. I don't believe in memberships. I don't like them. I don't want to be in a membership program. And I've tended to build my business the way I want to be with a business. Mm-hmm. So people are like, I can't believe you don't have a membership. You know how much money? I'm like, I don't care. It doesn't feel good. And if it's not going to feel good, then I cannot. It's got to be yummy. I keep saying that word. We don't take returns. If you don't want a product, do not send it back to us. We'll refund you. Just keep it, put it out in the world. Like, good juju. Like, you do that? I'm like, yeah, because we don't want to be bothered with it. Our fulfillment doesn't want to be bothered. Like, it's all of those things that like I said, like how I want to be, like, I want to be in business with a business that's like that.
Yeah. And it's important, because otherwise you feel a bad energy and you don't feel like to put more in at some point if it doesn't if it doesn't feel aligned with your principles or the way you are and the way you like it, because you are creating something that you would like to find in the world. So why not? Yeah. And it works like it is.
17 years is a long time.
Exactly. I mean, we are not talking about a couple of weeks where you still have to see how it goes. I mean,
17 years is a long time to be in business. So it does allow you, like you said, like, it has, for me to get up every morning and want to do what I do, and not only do that, but motivate the people who work. I mean, I am a lucky girl that we have to be feeling it. Especially because of who we serve. You can't fake it. You got to show up. You really have to show up. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And every day, it's not like occasionally. I mean,
No.
you wake up every morning to that reality. So
yeah, you do. And not every morning do I feel, but you know what, this is sound corny, but you know, we have a mission statement that every, you know, I wrote that mission statement maybe 12 years ago. And so every time we decide to do something, even like write a new book or a product or whatever it is, we stop and say, is this, let's read the mission. Is this what, and I'm not in my home office. I apologize. It doesn't look as pretty, but in my home office, I have that mission statement blown up. And I'm like, does that align with who we are? And it's a really good gut check. And that in and of it's like, does that feel good? Does that feel purposeful? Does that feel yummy? Because, you know, it started really poorly, my world. Like, you know, I came from nothing. I came from lemons. I came from like a really dark and twisty place. Yeah. So it's got to feel good now.
Yeah. Well, you turned it around beautifully. Yes. And it's important that your mission statement that you wrote 12 years ago is still real today. So right. That means that you followed your heart, definitely. Yeah. But do you work mainly with the private people or also with association, other kind of associations, or with schools or yes. Hospitals?
So we do the coaching is one-on-one with students, you know, private, but the Leslie Josel part of the business, which is me, is I do a tremendous amount of speaking. I've spoken. I mean, this is also pre-pandemic. I've been everywhere. I've been to Brazil, to Dubai, to Canada, and back again. Still doing all of that, but virtually right now, because we're still, you know, we're not getting we're not hopping on a plane and headed to Brazil right now. We're just not doing that. But I am coming to England in May.
No, speak. Really? Oh, wow.
So when that happens, I get hired by, believe it or not, I get hired by associations. I get hired by schools. I get hired by companies. Even a lot of companies want to give programs to their employees, and because they want to bring things in so the parents don't have to. So I feel like I've spoken for anything and everyone. So I've done everything from, I'm trying to give you like from colleges to 7-Eleven. I'm giving you brands, Chase, like that kind of thing, to the Learning Disability Association, the Children and ADHD Association, like, and every school imaginable. And I not only do students, I actually do parents and teachers. I spend a lot of time working with teachers, helping them.
Yeah, I thought the teachers is a very important part. Yeah. Also, I don't know how it's in the US, if you have specific teachers for children in the class.
Yes, we have a special, like there are special ed teachers, but what tends to happen is I get asked to come in to speak to what we call gen ed, general education teachers, to help them understand what executive functioning is. What does it look like in the classroom, and how can they set up their classrooms, what I like to call universal learning, something that's going to benefit every student in the class, not just the child that might be neurodiverse.
Yeah, that's very important as well for the environment and the atmosphere in the class.
Yes, really. Exactly. So yeah, it's crazy. Yes. And again, like people ask, how does that happen? And a lot of it is, well, now I have, like, to be honest, now I have a speaker's agent, but back then it was just, I gave a talk and someone there said, oh, I heard you. Can you, and it's just, I always say, if you're building a business, you never know who's listening, who's watching.
Yes. That's correct. That's why I've always to think at the back of your mind that you can grow exponentially very quickly, and like happened to you. But that is the adventure of a business, and it's amazing.
But I didn't grow. I have to say, and I keep going back to this because I don't want people to feel like, oh, I'll never have what she had, or I will never be. It did not happen overnight. 17 years is a long time. And a lot of what happened with my business grew very organically, right? I never pushed the business, because to know me, and it might not seem that way, I'm actually, when it comes to my business, I'm conservative. Do you know what I'm saying? everything we did, I didn't want to go out and get investors. I didn't want to borrow. I really talk in the weeds about how I wanted to always be the one who held full control of what I did. So, like when we launched our academic planners, again, I never set out to say, okay, I'm going to start a product business. It
came out automatically. I mean, it was the right moment to do it.
It was the right moment. You create something, you hand it to people, they love it, and 50 want them, then 100, then 1,000, and then you figure out, okay, I'm on to something. And again, it's that kind of growth that has always been, other than during the pandemic, it's always how I've kind of built Order Out of Chaos and steered it that way.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I mean, you can see your passion. That's why 17 years you grew so nicely. I always ask my guests if there's, apart the resilience that of course resonate with you, any other word or a quote that it's important for you. It's like sort of guidance.
Well, it's funny, when I was reading your words, which I just thought were beautiful, I actually was sitting between two, and I really felt that curiosity was, I almost picked curiosity, but I'm like, I don't know if that's really my main word. I think curiosity is really something that instinctively I have, that has helped me with even like always like being mindful of what do you need? What do you want? What's working for you? What's not for you? If you stop, we keep saying that 17 years, and even I'm like, wow, 17 years. I don't know if I was not curious and to keep learning and keep figuring things out, would I be here? And my community finds it funny that when I tell them I'm the student, like I will post like in class today or at a conference today, and they're like, oh, that's right, you have to learn. I'm like, yes, of course I have to learn, right? So that curiosity, I think, has really helped me like just figure stuff out. And I feel I've never stopped being curious.
So that's beautiful, because it's the push to go to the next one and what now, right?
And to also, and not just externally for your business, but also our clients. If you're not curious about how somebody thinks or somebody learns, or processes information,
how can you serve them?
Right. How can you serve them?
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
Beautiful. That's amazing. I just want to remind everyone that the contacts to reach out are in the post in bio on my website, on YouTube. I mean, it will be easy to reach out and see the beautiful work you do. And maybe someone in our audience really needs your help.
We always say that our website is our hardest working member of our team.
Right?
Isn't that great?
That's a lovely way.
There is so much information there, and it changes daily. There is so much there. So we always say it's the hardest working member of our team. You can head there for probably anything you might need. So yes.
Okay, beautiful. Thanks a lot for being with us. It's been a real honor, and speak to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for having me.